So a few people have asked me to make a video on Julia Zelg. Who is Julia Zelg for the uninitiated? Julia Zelg is a 25/26-year-old Brazilian YouTuber living in London. She specialises in vlogs, makeup tutorials, hair dye tutorials, fashion videos, kind of aesthetic-y things. As well as this, she has a music career. She's got quite a few videos up, music videos, but I don't know what's going on with that. However, music and her videos aren't necessarily what Julia's best known for. Testing my wife, lesbian age gap couple. When my wife was my age, lesbian age gap couple. What's changed after marriage? Q&A. Lesbian age gap couple. Reading assumptions about us. Lesbian age gap couple. I'm getting flashbacks of Lily Singh, the bisexual woman of colour. Did you know that Julia is in a lesbian age gap relationship? It's news to me. Listen, I have absolutely no problem with lesbian relationships. I've been in 2 of them, and I have no problem with age gap relationships. My current partner is 10 years older than me. What I do have a problem is someone else's relationship and the labels about that relationship being shoved in my face. Nearly every single upload about them. If she doesn't have age gap in the title, there's definitely going to be the lesbian couple in the title. It feels super exploitative of their own relationship to have to put those buzzwords in every single title. It reminds me back in 2016 where I was watching loads and loads of lesbian YouTube channels, lesbian couples, and every single title was lesbian, and that's not even talking about the content. Unlike much of these lesbian channels I used to watch, the PDA in them is overbearing and I feel like I'm intruding on something. There's so much kissing and making out and I love you, oh I love you so much, my sweet angel. It would be the same if it was a straight couple. I don't need to see that.
Well, if you don't like it, don't watch it then.
Good point. However, I still have to question the intentions. Is it insecurity, believing that people won't take your relationship seriously unless you're that hot on camera? Which is a double-edged sword, by the way, because lesbians have often had the complaint that they are overly sexualized and therefore not taken seriously. Then again, some of those lesbians have YouTube channels and I feel like I'm watching softcore erotica every time I watch a Q&A, so who knows? I think there's 3 possibilities for this. Number 1, pure exploitation of the relationship. Number 2, insecurity and therefore overcompensating because they want people to take them seriously. Or number 3, it's over-exaggerating because it's not real. There's actually a problem with the timeline of their relationship, and I'll link a video down below that actually explains it much better than I do. Julia and her wife claim they'd been talking on Tinder for 2 to 4 weeks before they actually decided to meet up. Problem. In that time frame, it would have meant that Julia was still with her ex-girlfriend. And that means Julia would have already had a Tinder profile and would have already been talking to people while she was with her girlfriend, who also happened to be the quote-unquote love of her life. They had their first day at her wife's apartment, but there is another video where her Instagram was hacked, where she's in her wife's apartment, meaning there's a lot of inconsistencies. They must have already had their first date for her to be at the apartment. This essentially means that while Julia was with her ex, she had a Tinder profile and possibly was already talking to Eileen, making this whole rushed whirlwind romance looking even worse than it already kinda does. People are concerned about how fast the relationship happened because when they decided to go on a holiday after they married to the US, Eileen was arrested for a charge Julia didn't know she had a warrant out for. Julia sugarcoats it by saying that Eileen had just forgotten about this because it had been 14 years ago. However, I don't think I would forget if there was a warrant out for my arrest in a certain part of the country, in a different country that I was going to be travelling to again, no matter how much time had passed. There's a lot of speculation around the relationship, but I'm only going to go off what I can actually see It seems forced and it seems exploitative, and if not, they're definitely trying too hard. And they might want to tone down to be considerate of the people who are watching their videos, who are most likely quite young, because that's what Julia has catered her content to, and they should be more considerate of that. Let's next move on to the topic of accusations of dog shopping. Dog shopping is where you go and purchase a dog specifically for the breed from a breeder rather than going to a shelter or rescue centre and adopting a dog in need. Julia has actually denied these claims by saying she was looking online because all of the shelters were closed and happened to find someone whose dogs had accidentally had puppies. They just accidentally had purebred Chihuahua puppies. Julia is either hella naive or she's lying in this circumstance. If someone genuinely had just not gotten their dog spayed and neutered and they'd had puppies, do you know what I would do rather than adopting one of those puppies? I would contact the person making that listing and say, look, you need to get them spayed and neutered if you genuinely have just accidentally had them make puppies. I'll tell you a short story. When I was about 8 years old, we adopted a cat from a shelter, and we were under the impression she had in fact been spayed. Eventually, she gave birth in the next door neighbour's laundry basket. Now, the thing is, she was an outdoor cat. She was an outdoor cat who we believed had been spayed. It's not like we had a male and female cat in the same house who just happened to get pregnant. No, my cat was just a horny minx and decided to get it on with some random cat round the corner. Do you know what we did after we realised, oh gosh, she hasn't actually been spayed? We waited the correct amount of time after she had given birth, we took her to the vet, and we got her spayed, so it wouldn't happen again. This isn't a breeding situation because we were under the impression she had been spayed, and once we realised that wasn't actually the case, we got her spayed. She also wasn't a purebred cat. We didn't just have two purebred cats of the opposite sex in the same household, very conveniently. Breeders are one of the number one reasons that kill shelters exist. And people get mad at kill shelters, but I'm going to give you a little bit of tea. Kill shelters only exist because people aren't giving them enough resources for them to be able to look after specific types of animal, specifically newborn animals, and people are buying from breeders which isn't allowing them to free up space to take in more animals. Kill shelters are often open admission, meaning that they are legally obliged to take in any animal that is given to them. But if they don't have the staff, the money, the room, they can't keep all of those animals. If kill shelters didn't exist, all of these animals would be living with depleted resources and in cramped conditions within those shelters. Some people have the idea that kill shelters are just there to abuse animals, but let me be clear, no one who works in these open admission shelters enjoys going in and having to decide which animal to euthanize that day. It's not something they enjoy doing, it's not an easy decision, and it's something that is a necessity so they can help the most amount of animals they can. Do I like the idea of kill shelters? Absolutely not. I like it as much as the employees who work there, who are doing what they have to do to ensure the majority of the animals that come in have enough space, food, and medical resources, because it's not just the case of taking in an animal and giving them food and a place to stay. There's medical bills, they have to have vaccinations, they need to be neutered and spayed, which is something these breeders aren't doing, and that causes a lot of problems when it comes to having to have kill shelters even exist. Let's argue, in a different realm of reality, that this was the case and the chihuahuas, they're purebred chihuahuas, accidentally bred. All you're doing, Julia, is giving them incentive to have that done again and have them not be spayed and neutered, which means there are going to be a lot of people going after those purebreds and leaving those in shelters behind. Let's be clear as well, you bought that puppy, you bought that chihuahua, you did not adopt that chihuahua. There are certain circumstances, aside from just the aesthetic and appeal of an animal, that people may go to breeders. For example, having enough space in your home and looking for a specific type of dog that would accommodate for. And if you've already exhausted all rescue shelters in your area, I can understand why you may go to that. But the issue here is, Julia obviously hasn't been to the rescue centres beforehand. Julia obviously hasn't got this dog for accommodating reasons within her own lifestyle because she has a Chihuahua and a very tiny apartment. A lot of people think small dogs equal small space. That's not true. Chihuahuas are highly energetic and they actually need to be walked at least twice a day for half an hour per walk. They already have a cat called Brittany, which they often have to give off to their friends when they go around the world on their trips. How are you expecting to take care of this dog if you aren't taking care of your cat already? And if I were to give leniency for certain situations of using breeders, I would at least expect that people would do the research about the specific breed, because why is your Chihuahua wearing outfits indoors in the UK when it's currently 20 plus degrees? Your dog is here in a body warmer on a fluffy blanket during some of the hottest days in the UK this year. This can be deadly. This can actually be deadly. And let's assume, okay, you took this cute little photo. You're in a small apartment, which means it's going to heat up a hell of a lot more than a big open space. This is a tiny Chihuahua, and I have a retriever mix hound dog. My hound dog gets ridiculously hot in this house we have with fans and windows open. Thankfully, we have a garden and we take the dog out at least twice a day. I'm concerned about what's going to happen to this dog when you next decide to go on holiday. And I'm concerned that you decided that quarantine was the best idea to get an animal whatsoever. Oh, I couldn't go to a shelter, I had to look online because of quarantine. How about you wait until you have the adequate resources and space and can actually help an animal in need, rather than getting an aesthetic? Because let's be fair, this is an aesthetic. It's an outfit, it has its own Instagram, you instantly released merch of the animal. This animal is an aesthetic to you. Another aspect people have realised about Julia's channel is she's quite greedy nowadays. There was a whole fiasco, not falafel, regarding her YouTube membership program where you'd get quite a lot for like 99 cents a month, but when the tiers went up and up, you didn't get a whole lot that was worth it. And when you actually went onto the $9.99 tier, somebody said that they found it to actually be $14.99. I don't know much about this because she seems to have got rid of the entire program. I can't see the join page on her YouTube channel, but I'll link a video in the description that covers it well. Julia has a very close-knit relationship with the brand Dolls Kill, which is really problematic because Dolls Kill has been accused and proven of stealing artwork and copying other smaller brands, as well as allegedly cancelling a PR deal with somebody after they realised she was disabled. It's not a very good brand to work with, but despite this, she does, again and again, and even her wife Eileen over on her channel, she's done a Dolls Kill haul as well. It seems that Julia really likes the clothes or wants free clothes, but doesn't really care about the ethics behind the company. And you can't say, oh well, she doesn't know about Dolls Kill, because she should know about Dolls Kill. She should be keeping up with Dolls Kill news, things about Dolls Kill, the facts behind the situations that Dolls Kill has been in. She replied to a comment on one of her videos asking, "What's the drama with Dolls Kill?" And that thread was filled up with replies explaining what was wrong with Dolls Kill, so there's no chance she didn't see or read at least some of that. She's also been criticised for taking on sponsorships that include Botox injections and veneers, which, while cosmetic, are medical procedures. Yes, it's her body and she can do what she likes with it. However, taking it on as a sponsorship, having them pay for your flights, the procedure and your hotel, that's a bit of a weird message to send out to your young fans. Especially since Julia herself has admitted to experiencing body dysmorphia in the past. How do you think that's going to make people who are younger than you feel when you promote this? Believe it or not, regardless of my view count and my subscriber count, I have been offered legitimate sponsorships, and I've turned them down. I have been offered 2 different sponsorships, both of them including medicinal supplies such as vitamins or some kind of diet pill. And I turned them down because 1, I don't use them, 2, why would I promote that? It's unscientific. It's not on the basis of anything factual with these up-and-coming companies, and I'm not promoting that to anyone who could see me, whether it's 1, 10, or 100 people. I understand if you want to get veneers, or you want to get Botox, or lip fillers, or cheek fillers, and you can get them for free, that's absolutely great. Good on you, go for it. But then you add the element of having your audience have it promoted to them. While Eileen rightly said it's Julia's body and she can do what she wants with it, on the other hand, it's not the same kind of sponsorship as, I don't know, a clothing brand or something along those lines. It's not really going to affect you. You can take the clothes off and you can return them if you don't like them. This is changes to your body that is being promoted. I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. Anything to do with medicine or bodily changes or things like that, I don't really think that it should be promoted to a vulnerable audience. This kind of sponsorship, really much like the Doll's Kill and her membership program, she hasn't really looked into it or thought it through properly. It just seems greedy. I can get this out of it if I promote it to my audience, not really thinking what it could do to your audience. It demonstrates poor research and, again, an inconsiderate attitude towards the people who are consuming your content. These are the most recent things I've found on Julia. However, if there's something I've missed that you think I need to talk about, please comment down below and I'll see what I can do about it. As well as this, my Twitter, my Etsy store Instagram, my Patreon and my PayPal are all in the description below. If you are watching this through the $1 tier of early access, hi, thanks so much for pledging, it's good to have you here. And if you're in the $5 tier, there is a new list of game nights coming up for June, which I have posted both on my community tab and in my Patreon feed. And if you are a subscriber who's just watching this on my channel, hi, good to have you here. And if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Please do that. It's nice. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.